Morning students. In yesterday discussed some problems on the inverse of a matrix by using elementary operation. Today is also continue in the same types of problems. So next one is if A is equal to, otherwise A is equal to minus 1 to 3 5. Minus 1 to 3 5. How to find the inverse of the matrix by using elementary operation. Yesterday is also discussed in same types of problems. Today is also continuing in the same. Now by using elementary row operation. Elementary row operation. Definition is nothing but A is equal to I into E, where A is nothing but minus 1, 2, 3, 5 is equal to I is nothing but 1, 0, 0, 1 into A. Now, after substitutions of A and I, in the left hand side can be reduced into their identity matrix. Automatically in the right hand side identity get converted into some another one of the matrix. Such a matrix is called as inverse of A. But how to reduce, the left hand side become an identity matrix. So what are the elements of identity? 1, 0, 0, 1. So first element is nothing but 1. First row, second element is 0. Second row, first element is 0. And last element is 1. But if the placement of the operation of the row operation is nothing but first place is minus 1, second place 3, third place is 5, fourth place is 2. But first place is nothing but minus 1. But by using the definition of identity is nothing but plus 1. Therefore, how to remove the minus 1 in that element. Now can be changes with R1. R1 can be changes with R1 divided by minus 1. Otherwise it's also can be written as minus R1. So just only remove the negative sign of that element. So minus na matra remove ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ it's multiplied by some negative value. Otherwise get dividing by minus 1 in all elements of that row. So in the first row is nothing but minus into minus is plus 1, plus into minus is minus 2, and the second rows are does not altered. Similarly for the RHS, again first row is multiplied by minus 1, 0, but in the second row is 0 and 1 into A. Then second place is 3. So 3 can be reduced into the form of 0. Now if it is changes with R2, but R2 is nothing but R2 na enen changes ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ನೋಡಿ. If it is either adding or subtracting the corresponding element of the first row, is check whether it is in 0 or not. So 3 minus 1 ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, otherwise 3 plus 1 ಆದರೆ it's not equal to 0. Therefore that element is nothing but 3. Suppose ಈ elements 3 ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ 3 minus 3 is 0 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So therefore all the elements of the first row are multiplied by 3. Element of the first row is multiplied by 3, then adding with the corresponding element of the second row. Therefore the second row can be changes with R2 minus 3 times of R1. R2 can be changes with R2 minus 3 times of R1. It means elements of R1 are multiplied by 3, again subtracting the corresponding elements of R2. Now just will write the elements of R2. R2 minus 3 times of R1. R2 is 3 minus 3 times of corresponding elements of R1 is 1. So that is 3 minus 3 is nothing but 0. So elements of first row 1 minus 2 minus 1 0 into A. First element is 0. And the second element R2 is 5 minus 3 times of R1 is minus 2. After simplification is nothing but 11. Minus into minus is plus 6. 6 plus 5 is 11. Similarly, in the right hand side, R2 is 0 minus 3 times of corresponding R1 is minus 1. So 0 minus of minus 1 into 3 is plus 3. The last element R1 is 1 minus 3 times of corresponding elements of R1 is 0. That is 1 minus 3 into 0 is 1. Now, the third place is 11. So, 11 can be reduced in the identity element is nothing but 1. Therefore, again R2 can be changes with R2 divided by 11. R2 divided by 11. In the first row, sir does not alter. 1 minus 2 equal to minus 1, 0. But in the second row, if all these elements are get dividing by 11. 0 by 11 is 0. 11 by 11 is 1. 3 divided by 11. 1 divided by 11. Now, next place is minus 2. So, minus 2 can be reduced in terms of 0. Therefore, R1 can be changes with. What is such an element can be either adding or subtracting their corresponding elements of R2. Once we'll check whether it's a 0 or not. Minus 2 plus 1 or minus 2 minus 1, again it is nothing but 0. It's not equal to 0. Therefore, if that element is multiplied by 2, suppose if the second row elements are get multiplied by 2, after addition of these two elements is nothing but 0. Minus 2 plus 2 is 0. Therefore, R1 can be changes with R1 plus 2 times of R2. But ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ನಾನು ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ, ಸಬ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಬಟ್ ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ದರ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರೋ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಇಂಟು ಮೈನಸ್ಸು 0 ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಈಗ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಮೈನಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಮೈನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ 0 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ದೇರ್ಫೋರ್ ಸೊ ಗೆಟ್ ಆ್ಯಡಿಂಗ್ R1 ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ವಿತ್ R1 plus 2 times of R2. It means elements of R2 are multiplied by 2 and these elements are adding with the corresponding elements of R1. That is R1 plus 2 times of R2. Now the elements of R2s are 0, 1, 3 by 11, 1 divided by 11. Now R1 is 1 plus 2 times of corresponding R2 is 0. That is nothing but 1. Similarly, second element is R1 is minus 2 plus 2 times of corresponding element of R2 is 1. Minus 2 plus 2 is 0. And in the RHS, R1 is minus 1 plus 2 times of corresponding R2 is 3 by 11. That is minus 1 plus 6 by 11. Get an LCM. Minus 11 plus 6 is nothing more. Minus 5 divided by 11. Similarly, last element is R1 is 0 plus 2 times of R2 is 1 divided by 11. That is nothing but 2 divided by 11. Therefore, if it is in the form of I is equal to B into A, therefore that B is called the inverse of A. Therefore, A inverse is nothing but minus 2 divided by 11, 5 by 11, 2 by 11, 3 divided by 11 and 1 divided by 11. So, these are the inverse of that matrix. So, it's one of the result. Next one. 3152. First, if it is denoted for A, let A is equal to 3152 by eliminatory row operation. By eliminatory row operation, A can be written as I into A, where A is nothing but 3152 equals to A is 1001 into A. Now, first we will observe in the left hand side. If it is reduced into the form of identity, but according to the elements of identity, first element is nothing but 1. So, but in the given matrices, first element is 3. The 3 is reduced into the form of 1 or identity. So but if the second element, the second elements of the first row is nothing but 1, if it is possible to get me interchange, but if these two are interchanged with each other, that is represented in the form of column wise. C1 and C2 are possible to interchange. So once we'll apply the condition or operations of column in all the process, if it is only applied in the column operation, not by using in the row. So ನನಗೆ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಕಾಲಮ್ನ ಇಂಟರ್ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಓಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಮು ಕಾಲಮ್ನೇ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಆಪ್ರೇಷನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ನ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಮೆಥಡಲ್ಲಿ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕ್ಕೆ ಈಸಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬೈ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ದ ಕಾಲಮ್ ಆಪ್ರೇಷನ್. Therefore, in the first element can be changes with the single element for 1 by using the division. Now, R1 can be changes with R1 divided by 3. ಸೊ ನೀವು ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ನ 1 ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂತಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಸೇಮ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸಿಂದ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ನ ಓಲ್ ಇಕ್ವೇಷನ್ನ ರೋನ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ 0 ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಸ್ಕೆಟ್ ಐದರ್ ಆ್ಯಡಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ ದೆನ್ ಸಬ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್, ಅವೆರಡು ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು. ಸೊ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಟಿ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ 1 ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಡಿವಿಷನ್ ಆರ್ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್. 0 ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ರಿಟನ್ ಆಸ್ ಐದರ್ ಅಡಿಷನ್ ಆರ್ ದೆನ್ ಸಬ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್. Now first row are get dividing by 3. 3 by 3 is 1. 1 by 3. Similarly in their RHS 1 by 3 0. But in the second rows are does not alter. 5 2 0 1 into A. So after that second place is 5. But 5 can be changes with 0. 5ನ ನಾವು ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ 0 ಆಗಿ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ 0 ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ದರ್ ಪ್ರೀವಿಯಸ್ ರೋ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಚೆಕ್ ವೆದರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಟು ಆರ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್ ಟು ಐದರ್ ಆ್ಯಡಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ ದೆನ್ ಸಬ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್. ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ಸಬ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ 0 ಆಗುತ್ತಾ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಸೊ ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ 0 ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ get by using multiplication. Now R2 can be changes with R2 minus 5 times of both are will be positive or both are will be negative, get subtraction. Suppose one of these elements are will be negative and one of them will be positive, by using addition. ಇವೆರಡರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಒಂದು ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಅಡಿಷನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಬೋತ್ ಆರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಆರ್ ಬೋತ್ ಆರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಬೈ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸಬ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್. therefore R2 can be changes with R2 ಮೈನಸ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನಾನಲ್ಲಿ 5 times ಆಫ್ R1. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಸೇಮ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ನ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ. 5 times ಆಫ್ R1. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರೋ ಇಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ 1 by 3. In their RHS is also 1 by 3 0. Now changes in the second row. R2 minus 5 times of R1. Now R2 is 5 minus 5 times of corresponding R1. R1 is nothing but 1. That is 5 minus 5 is equal to 0. Similarly, second element R2 is 2 minus 5 times of R1 is 1 divided by 3. So that is 2 minus 5 divided by 3. LCM is 3. Numerator is 6 minus 5 is nothing but 1 by 3. And in RHS, R2 is 0 minus 5 times of corresponding R1 is 1 by 3. So 0 minus 5 into 1 by 3 is nothing but minus 5 divided by 3. The last element R2 is 1 minus 5 times of R1. Corresponding elements of R1 is 0 if it is nothing but 1. Then third place is nothing but 1 by 3. It can be changes with 1. Therefore again R2 can be written as, ನೋಡಿ ಈ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸು 1 ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಡಿವೈಡಿಂಗ್ ಬೈ ದಿ ಸೇಮ್ ನಂಬರ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ನಂಬರ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅದೇ ನಂಬರ್ಸಿಂದ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ರೆಸಿಪ್ರೋಕಲ್ ನಂಬರ್, ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ಬೈ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ದ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ R2 divided by 1 by 3. Otherwise it's also can be written as 3 times of R2. So either get dividing by 1 by 3 or it's multiplied by 3. Therefore in first row 1 by 3, again 1 by 3 0. So if all the elements of the second row are get multiplied by 3, 0 into 3 is 0. 1 by 3 into 3 is 1. Minus 5 by 3 into 3. 3 are get cancel is nothing but minus 5. 1 into 3 is 3. These are the elements of R2. Then fourth place is 1 by 3. It can be reduced into 0. But if 0 reduce ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂದಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ subtraction. R1 can be changes with. But if these two elements will be not equal to each other. Therefore, all the elements of the second row are multiplied by 1 by 3. So R1 can be changes with R1 minus 1 by 3 times of R2. R1 minus 1 by 3 times of R2. Therefore, second rows are nothing more 0 and 1. In the right hand side is minus 5 by 5 3 into A. Then first rows are R1 minus 1 by 3 times of R2. The first elements of R1 is 1 minus 1 by 3 of 0. If it is again nothing but 1. Similarly, second element R1 is 1 by 3 minus 1 by 3 of R2 is 1. Again 1 by 3 minus 1 by 3 is nothing but 0. In RHS, R1 is 1 by 3 minus 1 by 3 times of R2 is minus 5. Get simplified. 1 by 3 plus 5 by 3. So 3 is an LCM. In numerator is 6. 6 by 3 is nothing but 2. Then last element is R1 is 0 minus 1 by 3 of R2 is nothing but 3. Again these 3 are get cancelled, it will be equal to minus 1. Therefore, if it is in the form of I is equal to B into A, therefore that B is called the inverse of A. Therefore, A inverse is equal to 2 minus 1 minus 3 5. Sorry, minus 5 3. These are the elements of the inverse of a matrix. Next one. 6 minus 3 minus 2 1. Let A equals by the definition of row operation, elementary row operation, A is equal to I into A, where A is nothing but 6 minus 3 minus 2 1. I is 1 0 0 1 into A. Now again first element is nothing but 6. 6 ಇರೋದನ್ನ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ನಾವೀಗಲ್ಲಿ 1. ಸೊ 1 ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ in the whole rows of elements can be dividing throughout by 6. 6 ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ 6 ಇಂದನೇ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ. Therefore R1 can be changes with R1 divided by 6. In the first row 6 by 6 is 1. Minus 3 divided by 6 is nothing more minus 1 by 2. Minus 3 divided by 6 is nothing but minus 1 by 2. In their RHS, 1 divided by 6, 0 divided by 6 is 0, and second row does not altered. Minus 2, 1, 0, 1. Then next element is nothing but minus 2. So minus 2 can be reduced into the form of 0. So therefore R2 can be changes with. Now R2 changes with, but suppose if these two are get adding or subtracting with each other, is nothing but not equal to 0. Suppose ಈ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸಿಗೆ ನಾನು 2ನ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ minus 2 plus 2 is 0. Therefore, if the elements of R1 are multiplied by 2 and these elements are adding with the corresponding elements of R2. Therefore, R2 can be changes with R2. But ಇಲ್ಲಿ already minus ಇದೆ. Therefore, it's become positive. So one of them will be positive and another one will be negative, get adding their equation. So both are will be positive or both are will be negative, get subtracting that equation. R2 plus 2 times of R1. Therefore the first elements are 1 minus 1 by 2. In the right hand side is 1 by 6, 0. These are the elements of the first row into A. Then second elements, equation is nothing but R2 plus 2 times of R1, where R2 is minus 2 plus 2 times of R1 is 1. So minus 2 plus 2 is nothing but 0. Similarly, second element R2 is 1 plus 2 times of R1 is minus 1 by 2. These two are get cancelled. 1 minus 1 is again nothing but 0. In the right hand side, R2 is 0 plus 2 times of R1 is 1 by 6. That is nothing but 1 by 3. The last element R2 is 1 plus 2 times of R1 is 0. That will be equal to 1. Then next way. But if it is observed with the elements of the second row, if all these elements are nothing but 0. So if all the elements of any row or any columns of the left hand side of the matrix R will be 0, then inverse is does not exist. A inverse is does not exist. Since ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಟೀಸ್ ಇಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ 1 ಅಂತ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿರೋದು ನನಗೆ 0. ಬಟ್ 0 ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ 1. 0ನ ನೀವು ಯಾವುದೇ ನಂಬರ್ಸಿಂದ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಥವಾ ಡಿವಿಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ 1ನ ಕನ್ವರ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ಫೋರ್ ಇಫ್ ಆಲ್ ದಿ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಎನಿ ರೋಸ್ ಆರ್ ಎನಿ ಕಾಲಮ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ left hand side means given matrices after by using in their elementary operations are 0, in that matrix if the inverse is does not exist. So it's one of the conclusion of the problem. ಅಂದರೆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇನ ಇನ್ವರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ನ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬರೀರಿ. ಇನ್ವರ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಡಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ 3, 10 to 7. Let A is equal to 3, 10 to 7. So by the elementary row operation, A is equal to I into A, where A is nothing but 3, 10 to 7 is equal to I is 1, 0, 0, 1 into A. Now in the first row can be changes with in change ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ. So that element can be reduced into the form of 1. So 1 ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ all rows are get dividing by the same number. 3 ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ 3 ಇಂದನೇ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ. Therefore 3 by 3 is 1. 10 divided by 3. In their RHS 1 divided by 3. 0 divided by 3. The second rows are does not alter. 2, 7, 0, 1 R will be continuing in the same elements. The next places is R2. So R2 can be changes with ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ನಾವೀಗ R2ನ 0 ಆಗಿ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. 0 ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಕರೆಸ್ಪಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರೋ. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ದೀಸ್ ಟು ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ಈಚ್ ಅದರ್, ಆಗ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈಡ್ ಬೈ 2. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ಫೋರ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ R2 is multiplied by 2 and subtracting with the corresponding elements of R2. Therefore R2 can be changes with R2 minus 2 times of R1. R2 minus 2 times of R1. The elements of first row 1 10 by 3. In the RHS is 1 by 3 0. Elements of the first row are will be continuing in the same form. 1 10 by 3 1 by 3 0. The elements of second row can be simplified by using the condition. R2 is 2 minus 2 times of corresponding R1 is 1. So 2 minus 2 can be written as 0. Second element R2 is 7 minus 2 times of corresponding R1 is 10 by 3. So get an LCM 7 minus 20 divided by 3. So get an LCM 3 is an LCM. 21 minus 20 is 1 divided by 3. And in RHS, R2 is 0 minus 2 times of corresponding R1 is 1 by 3. That is 0 minus 2 by 3 is nothing but minus 2 by 3. Then last element R2 is 1 minus 2 times of corresponding R1 is 0. That is again nothing but 1. Then third place is 1 by 3 can be changes with 1. Therefore R2 can be changes with its dividing throughout by 1 by 3 or it's multiplied by 3. R2 can be changes with 3 times of R2. Means if all the elements of R2 are multiplied by 3. If all the elements of R2 are multiplied by 3. Therefore first rows are 1, 10 by 3, 1 by 3, 0. Now the second elements are multiplied by 3. 0 into 3 is 0. 1 by 3 into 3 is 1. Minus 2 by 3 into 3 is minus 2. 3 into 1 is 3. Next one. So fourth place is 10 by 3. 10 by 3 can be written as in the form of 0. Therefore R1 can be changes with R1 minus same elements are multiplied by R2. 10 by 3 of R2. So R1 minus 10 by 3 of R2. Therefore elements of the second rows are 0, 1 and in the right hand side is also minus 2, 3. Now first row is nothing but R1 minus 10 by 3 of R2. So R1 is 1 now minus 10 by 3 of corresponding R2 is 0. If it is again nothing but 1. Second element R1 is 10 by 3 minus 10 by 3 of corresponding R1 is R2 is 1. That is 10 by 3 minus 10 by 3 is 0. In RHS R1 is 1 by 3 minus 10 by 3 into corresponding R2 is minus 2. So 1 by 3 minus into minus is plus 10 into 2 is 20 by 3. So 3 is an LCM. 1 plus 20 is 21 divided by 3 is nothing but 7. And the last element R1 is 0 minus 10 by 3 times of corresponding R2 is 3. These 3 are get cancelled. It will be equal to minus 10. So therefore that is in the form of I is equal to B into A. That B is called the inverse of A. Therefore A inverse is equal to 10, 7 minus 10 minus 2, 3. These are the elements of the inverse of a matrix. Note. Now just verification how to find the inverse of a matrix. In generally elements of A can be written as A, B, C, D. Elements of A can be written as A, B, C, D. Inverse of the matrix A can be written as 1 divided by inverse of the matrix A inverse can be written as 1 divided by AD minus BC. That is called as product of left diagonal minus right diagonal. That is 1 over AD minus BC into D minus B minus C A. That is one of the inverse of a matrices. So A inverse can be written as in the form of 1 over AD minus BC. AD is called as product of the left diagonal minus right diagonal. AD minus BC into elements of the matrix A can be written as in the form of, but if these two elements can be taken as in their interchange of their places. Left diagonal elements are will be in the form of interchanging in their places, but if the right diagonals are only changes with their sign. So elements are will be positive, after that operation is nothing but negative. Suppose if these are negative, after that operation is nothing but positive. So these are will be called as inverse of a matrix in 2 cross 2 matrix if it is just only the verification of your answers. So it's not by using the method on this purpose of examination, but in particularly in your problems by using eliminatory operation. ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ನ ಕೇಳಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ 3 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಇರುತ್ತದು. ಫೈಂಡ್ ದಿ ಇನ್ವರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿಕ್ಸ್ ಬೈ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಎಲಿಮಿನೇಟರಿ ಆಪರೇಷನ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ವರ್ಡ್ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ದೇರ್ಫೋರ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬೈ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಕಟ್ ಮೆಥಡ್. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ವೆರಿಫಿಕೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಯುವರ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ಸ್. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆನ್ಸರ್ಸ್ನ ವೆರಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಈ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಬಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ವಿಲ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಇನ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಈಸ್ 3, 10, 2, 7. That problem is already find out what about the inverse of the matrix. Last problem na now solve ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. But we'll just verify your answers by using the short form of how to find the inverse of the matrix. First will inverse of the matrix is 1 divided by AD minus BC. AD means product of left diagonal minus right diagonal. So left diagonal is 7 into 3. 7 into 3 is 21. Minus 10 into 2. 10 into 2 is 20. That is 1 over AD minus BC. So into elements are, first will what are the left diagonal elements? Means principal diagonal elements are interchanging in their place. 7 and 3 are will be interchanging with their place. And the right diagonals, now what are will be called as right diagonal. These are only changes with their sign. Ali positive idre negative nalli bariri, negative idre positive nalli bariri. That is minus 10 minus 2. So after simplification 1 divided by 21 minus 20 is 1. 1 by 1 is nothing but 1 into 7 minus 10 minus 2 3. Otherwise just will written as A inverse is equal to 7 minus 10 minus 2 3. That is the inverse of a given matrix. That is one of the short form method to find the inverse of a matrix. But it's not a method of eliminatory operation. But in your examination purpose, now already continue the process of eliminatory either in row operation or in the column operation. But it's one of the just verification form of how to find the inverse of a matrix. Off ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡಿ.